And the beauty of that is you only have to be yourself. Like, you don't have to like change yourself to be anybody else. You don't have to emulate anyone else. You only have to be yourself. And it's crazy because in being yourself, there's almost this guaranteed, 100% guarantee of you being enough for your purpose. Because if it's meant for you, then you will be enough. And that's just it. Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Like, hey, so nice to speak with you all again. I think it's about time I have a different opening than just saying so. But in this particular video, one thing that I do want to talk about, one thing that's I want to try to stay true to is this idea of just, maintaining authenticity and just who I am and how I present myself and who I believe myself to be. And I think that's a big driving format for the way that these videos present themselves. As of now, my page is titled Desmond IRL. Obviously, I'm not like, live streaming or having someone follow me around with the camera. But I feel that this is the best way that I can kind of present myself in terms of where I am in this moment. Currently at my second cousin's house at the moment. They've so graciously allowed me, to live with them, to save money on rent and other expenses in order for me to, finish my education, going into my second year of my master's program. So obviously I'm very, I'm grateful for, them stepping in and helping me in this way. But I feel this format, even the way that I edit my videos, and obviously I don't have crazy like editing skills, but I appreciate, I guess, just the rawness and the authenticity that I try to maintain in my videos, not just in me talking, but also in the way that I script and write the videos. So I don't necessarily have a script that I follow. As I'm, living and I guess existing, I write down these ideas in my notes app on my phone. And because they are things and ideas that are very true to me and things that I'm thinking about, I don't necessarily need a script for them. Like I can go back and remind myself of what I wrote and read it and remember exactly what I was thinking, because that thought came directly from me. What I present is not an imitation. It's not me emulating someone else. It's me presenting a thought that I've had, and usually a thought that continues to, reoccur. And that's what I'm hoping these videos and this format that I'm choosing to follow can represent. It can represent just the natural flow and progression, of my thoughts over time. And obviously they're going to change. And I think that's the whole point. The whole point is to reflect that change. But as I'm looking back, I want to be able to see the authentic version of me that I present and see that I remain steadfast in that. And I think that's been the biggest driver. And I think never wanting to get away from that, never wanting to get away from, just the realness of who I am and how I present myself. And obviously changes will occur, not just in like the things I'm talking about, but, maybe in what I'm documenting necessarily. Like as of now, my biggest format is, like the thoughts, but maybe there'll be experiences, maybe I'll graduate or I'll elevate to it being experiences and, being more comfortable taking my camera out and recording in actual situations and not necessarily, talking about it after the fact. But at the same time, I think it all fits in that same, envelope of just me, documenting things that I experience and, just wanting to just have something to look back on and be like, okay, that's what I was thinking about. That's who I was in, that moment in time in my life. And I think that's a beautiful thing. And I want to say to anyone who's listening, obviously you don't need a camera, to help you to remain steadfast in being authentic. I think authenticity is something that we can practice, at any given moment. Essentially, the camera is a prop, for, let's say, people's eyes. When you're talking to people, it's essentially, talking to a camera. You're talking to someone, who can potentially hold you accountable. And me recording these videos and watching them back, like, I understand and know who I am. And I know, like, if I'm not being authentic, like it shows in the video. Same as if someone's talking to you and they know you, they're going to understand, if you're not being your authentic self. And a lot of times we need those things in our lives to, remind us when we're getting away from, the path that we need to be on. And I believe that's an important one. To be authentic to yourself is to be authentic, to people around you, to be authentic to your purpose. And I think that's very important because I was just talking with a friend earlier today, this idea of purpose and, the purpose that, God has for each and every one of us. It's meant for you. And it's like a two-part system. You have your purpose and you have the person who's meant to do it. So the person that God intended for you to be, you can't fulfill that purpose if you're not walking in who you're meant to be. And the beauty of that is you only have to be yourself. Like, you don't have to like change yourself to be anybody else. You don't have to emulate anyone else. You only have to be yourself. And it's crazy because in being yourself, there's almost this guaranteed, this 100% guarantee of you being enough for your purpose. Because if it's meant for you, then you will be enough. And that's just it. Like, there's no ifs, ands, of us about it. Like, and I think that's kind of that's what's been my biggest driving factor for me, and just things that I feel and experience. And this documenting thing is something I felt for a while. So me not obeying, that desire, this thing that I've been thinking about and I've been kind of curating in my brain, and me not listening to that and feeding into it and giving into it is potentially an example of me not being authentic to me, and me encompassing my thoughts, desires, and beliefs. And I just want to say to anyone who's listening, if you have like things that you want to do, things that are weighing heavy on your mind, it's important to listen to them, to talk about them with other people, because you just want to be sure that you're being who you need to be. And I think in being who you need to be, you're doing justice not only for yourself, but for the people around you and the people that you will go on to impact, for the rest of your life. So I think that's the biggest message, is to maintain authenticity, not just for yourself, but for the people around you, and for the purpose that you have in this life. Thank you.